Yes, chat. I'm just literally just testing the streaming thing, man, seeing what it's like to go live. Can you like hear me? Just drop a message in the chat, man, if you like can hear me. Seems a bit slow, man. What you like saying, man? Thanks for even thanks for even just turning up, man. I was literally just testing. I was just testing it out, man. I was just sat here. I thought I need to do some content. I'm literally just reading the messages, man. Yeah, shout out Damo, man. Shout out Damo. Fizzy, what you saying, man? Or you, I can, yeah, I recognize all these names in the chat, man. Love that, love that. What you guys saying about Barcola? Just let me know in the chat, man. Like I said, I literally I just loaded this up just to do a little trial run. I thought, you know what, Sheen's been on my case telling me, you know, Sim, you got to start doing some live streams. So I'm literally I'm just testing it out, man. Yeah, I'm just trying to get the hang of this. Nah, Sim short for Simran, Stevie. Asim's on BNR. Alongside Sheen. Asim's got the slip back here. Mine's just Sim, short for Simran. Yeah, you reckon it's all clickbait? I don't know, man. You know what? I think a lot's hanging on this Diamande deal. Um, I saw some reports earlier that what did they say? That Diamande might stay at Leipzig now. So a lot could just hang on that. But you know what? It's just weird how quiet everything is right now. To be honest, that's what's making me a little paranoid. But I don't know what you lot think, man. It's hard to call right now. I still think we'll get the Barcola deal done. To be honest, like I know a lot of people are worried, especially after last night's performance. Um, but I don't know, man. And I just won't be like you said, Stevie. I won't be surprised if PSG do go on for Elise. Some reports have come out now saying that he wants some Real Madrid. But that'd be if Real Madrid get Elise, that is crazy, man. I don't know if Mourinho's the guy for to get the best out of that team though. What do you lot think, man? You think Jose's got he's got a last dance in him? It's hard to call. Very hard to call, man. Um, Yeah, I think you're right. You know, Fizzy. I think once the World Cup's done, I think we got to just be patient for another few days now. You know, honestly, like we, you obviously a lot of you guys have tuned in to BNI. You've seen what it's like. Oh, it's a bit delayed. Um, is that any better? Just trying to get the hang of this, man. Hold on. Yes, it's a bit delayed on my side as well. I don't know if it's my internet connection. I will get the hang of this, boys. I will get the hang on it, man. But yeah, what do you guys think about Jose then? If he gets a Elise, do you think he's gonna be able to? Do you think he's gonna be alright to manage players like this? Oh, my voice is delayed. I don't know, man. We'll run it like this for now, man. I'll look back at the video. I'm only gonna do about 20 minutes, 30 minutes, and kind of just see how it goes, man. I just thought, let me just see who's online, see how many people are active who wants to talk about Liverpool. Um, yeah, just get some questions in, boys. Honestly, I've got no plan for this show anyway, so I just literally just I thought, let me just press live stream and let's just see how it goes. Get some questions in, man. But you know, I've seen a lot of people talking about they weren't impressed with Barcola last night. How high do I think we'll go? You know what? I think we'll go to. I think we'd go to 115. You know, I'm not saying that's the right thing to do, but I really wouldn't be surprised if you know if we ended up doing that. I think I think with the way the market is, I think a lot of these other players, a lot of the alternatives, they're um they're going to be a bit hit and miss, man. I think if it was Liverpool from like 2016, I think we'd probably gamble on, you know, like an El Mala or a Nusa, and you know we'd give him a couple of years or 18 months to kind of settle in, and you know we'd see see the progression. But I think right now, I think missing out on Diamande, I think the club want to make sure they can get close to as little a gamble as possible, if that makes sense. I know people are, a bit worried about Barcola's finishing and, that sort of stuff, but, his output's decent. And even if you take 20% of his, output away because it's the French league, he's still probably on about 50 GA for the last 2 years, which, it's not bad considering, he's in and out the team. It's not really consistent, even though, he does play a lot of games. I think he played about 30 last season or started 30, which isn't too bad. What's Stevie saying? Can I pin that? Yeah. Does that come up on the screen? I'm still learning how to do this, boys. Bring in Zabani. Yeah, you know what? Zabani is a good option, man. I like it because obviously he's played under Iraola before. And I think if you can do it with an option to buy, it's not a bad call at all, man. But I saw the links, and the links kind of said that it was going to be with an obligation to buy, if it does happen. But you never know. I think it's a possibility, man. And I wouldn't be mad at Huijsen either. I think, I said it at the time. I was very surprised that he went to Real Madrid. It's, for a young defender to kind of go there, it's a big call, and I get it. Like, you can't really turn it down. But I think a lot of these kids now, they got to look at themselves and kind of think, you know what, we need to play consistently at a good level, a top level for 3 years before even exploring that Real Madrid move. Because, it's gone wrong for a lot of players. Huijsen's one of them. Obviously, the Rat Trent, it's not worked for him either. And, a young manager in Alonso, it's not gone the best for him either. So I wouldn't be mad at Dean Huijsen. And obviously, he was our first target, I think, before we signed Florian Wirtz last year. The Dean Huijsen thing didn't happen, and we just moved straight onto Wirtz and kind of got that done. Yeah, I like João Gomez as well. I think he'd be like a very, very underrated player. I know a lot of people are going to look at it from, the perspective that he got relegated. But I remember when we signed, Robbo, Gini, Shaqiri, and you know what, like Robbo and Gini, they're kind of legends at the club. Shaqiri's like a bit of a, fan favourite still after all these years. But I'm not mad at it. His ball recovery is ridiculous. He's fast. He's press resistant. I wouldn't be mad at it at all, bro. At all. And I think that's a great call, man. João Gomez. And I think you're getting him for about 45 million, which isn't too bad at all, I think you could do a lot worse. What else are you guys saying, man? I like Nwaneri, I know a lot of people are kind of, looking down on him a little bit, but I think his ceiling is ridiculous. The only reason he can't get in right now is Saka's a fan favourite at Arsenal. Ødegaard's the captain. Looking like they're going to get Morgan Rogers. They got Eze. So, I remember we wanted him before he signed that new contract. So I wouldn't be surprised, man, if we do go back in for him. I like Nwaneri. It just depends. What do you guys think the price would be for Nwaneri? I know a lot of people don't like Minter, and it's like, okay, if I gave you Barcola and I gave you Nwaneri, would you accept it? Just basing it on that Nwaneri would be your, your project right winger, and then maybe you can re-explore the market next season, and then you got a little bit of competition on that side. Would any of you guys take that? But you know what? I think a lot of people have been harsh on him, considering the whole team was pretty shit this season. Other than Sobo, he did bits, regardless of what people think of him, myself included. I think he's a bit hit and miss. I don't know what his best position is, to be honest, but he carried us at times last season, so I can't even disrespect the guy. But I think everyone else in the team didn't really perform last year. So, and I get, we spent silly money on Florian Wirtz, but I think he's going to come good. His pressing numbers at Leverkusen were really, really good. So I don't see why he wouldn't work in the Iraola system. And I think Iraola would, he's going to thrive on that kind of challenge, to get the best out of him. And of course, the board are going to be saying to him, look, listen, we spent silly money on Wirtz and Isak last year. Like, we want you to get the best out of them. So I think he's going to thrive off that challenge. And he'll play that Krupi role. Obviously he's not as fast as Krupi, And obviously, there's still parts of his game that he needs to iron out. We know that the way he was hitting the ball last season, it was like he was having a pillow fight or something. But he's still got levels to go to. He's what 22, 23. So I'm not too concerned about Verts. I know people are concerned, but I'm not, man. I think Iraiola's gonna get the best out of him, and I just hope we give him the right platform. And I get and there was concerns last year, man, about people saying like, listen, should we really be, changing our whole setup for this player? But listen, as a youth player, he's known to be generational, especially in Germany. So I'm not too worried. I think Iraola is gonna love working with him. What else you boys saying? Diamande, I've been saying this for weeks, and I'm not gonna lie to you, man. Like I've had a couple of messages, and I have to kind of take them with like a grain of salt because you don't know who is super trustworthy when it comes to like this ITK stuff. And I don't disrespect anyone. I don't air them out or anything. I take it with a grain of salt. And obviously, if someone's telling me something, I'm gonna be respectful. But a few people have said to me over the last 2-3 weeks that the deal's not dead. How accurate that is, I don't know. It's but it's just weird how quiet it's gone with PSG. And Leipzig are adamant that they want him to stay. Unless the right price is kind of met. But would you guys still take him? After allegedly he said that PSG is his first choice. Would you guys still want him at Liverpool this season, or can we not be fussy? Do we have to kind of like suck up our pride a bit and say, you know what, we need him? And that caused a lot of pressure on the guy now. If he decides to come to Liverpool, I'm not saying it's going to happen. I'm not sure if it will happen. Very unlikely, but I think that's a lot of pressure on him now if he was to come here. I'm just trying to get through you guys' messages, man. I didn't even know how many people were going to turn up, man. I just pressed live and I thought, let me just do a little test run. But you know what? I'm just enjoying talking to you boys, man. And I actually need to post it on Twitter. What else? Yeah, I wouldn't be Fizzy. I wouldn't be surprised, bro, if Diamande stays for a season now. But you know what it is? I think if he stays this season and he has a great year, I think you are going to have to pay that 120 next year. From whatever the links were, I don't know how accurate the reports were today, but it was saying Leipzig want 120, Liverpool don't want to go over 100, PSG definitely don't want to go over 100, and I think it's fair because he's only had one season at this level. So it's I think with Diamande he's the most calculated gamble you could go for. If you look at his underlying numbers, that sort of thing. And I think it's the same with Barcola. I think a lot of the other names that I mentioned, I'm not shitting on people's opinions when I say Fernandez, Pardo, El Marlan, Nusa. I think they're more of a gamble than the other two are in terms of output and overall play. And it's like, if you go for let's say Minter, if you go for Minter and he's 70 million this year and it doesn't work out, he's not hitting the level that you want him to, do you now have to stick with him next year and hope he improves? Or do you have to go back into the market and spend another 70, 80 million? I think that's what I'm worried about. And as fans, we shouldn't have to worry about finances. A club the size of Liverpool, they should be able to go out and spend money, obviously smartly, not stupidly. I don't want us to spend 400 million every year, but there's been times in the past where I thought we really should have given Klopp an extra 100 million or so, man, just to strengthen, man. Think how many times we had to take seasons off, and that's what I just don't want to happen anymore, if I'm being honest with you boys. Gakpo to replace Elise at Bayern, that's a shout. I think I could see Tottenham and Bayern being seriously interested in him. We know Spurs are. We know Bayern liked him last year, and obviously they went for Diaz instead. What else? Yeah, Elise to Madrid is scary, man. I'll be honest. But it wouldn't surprise me if it happens. I think they know that they have to go big this summer because Barca are killing them in the league. I think is it 2 years in a row they've won the league now, and it's like it's been barely a challenge. I actually went to the Clasico in October. Sick game, man. But Barca were ridiculous, man. I don't know how. I think you look at that Barcelona team. There's not really like loads of superstars. They're just a good, solid team. Everyone knows their role. Obviously, Yamal is ridiculous. Kabati, oh my god, this kid is special. I like Pedri. Pedri just scored them in the game I watched. But then obviously you got players like Mbappe, Jude, Vinny, who can just like turn it on at any point, man. But yeah, Elise to Madrid would be scary. Would you guys take Rodrigo, even though he's come back from an injury? Um, or do you reckon that's a gamble, knowing that he could rupture it again, or we might not get the best out of him until later in the season? Um, Spurs ready to offer Spence plus cash on top of Gakpo. But listen, give me Spence, man. Spence is a good player. I think defensively, I think we could go for better players on the ball. But I was talking to some of the boys in the group chat earlier, and we were just saying like we're sick of conceding goals. So I would rather take a defensive minded right back. I think if we can get the right profiles in midfield that kind of alleviate that need to have a right back that's ridiculously good on the ball, I'm not mad at it at all. I'm actually trying to get through these comments as well, boys. I don't want to like miss any of them out. Stevie, you rate Marmoush? Yeah, he's hit and miss, man, isn't he? Like Marmoush, I liked him. He was at the same team as Ekatike, was it? And before he went to City, I was quite open to us signing him, but he's been a bit hit and miss, man, since. But who knows? Maybe he needs a new challenge. But that's a big call, Stevie. To rotate with Isak, yeah, and you know what? That's fair, Steve, man. Like, I think if he was a rotational option, and I think he'd have to just lower his wages as well, man. But I agree with you what you're saying here, bro. What you're saying, Liverpool can blow 300 million net spend this summer without player sales. Yeah, somebody was saying that Mo Chatra, he did a good little thread on Twitter, talking about how much money Liverpool actually have to spend this year. I haven't got through it yet. I literally bookmarked it earlier. I need to go back through it. But listen, a club the size of Liverpool shouldn't have to be, selling players to buy players. We're fucking Liverpool Football Club, lads. Like it's a joke that we have to move like that sometimes, and I'm sick of it. And sometimes I think that's just FSG have worked miracles in the terms of like programming fans to thinking this is how it should be run. Like, listen, it's Liverpool. I want us to act smartly. Like I said, I'm not a greedy fan, man. I think you can act smartly and still spend a bit of money. I don't want you to spend 500 million every summer, because that just means something's gone wrong the previous year. What we're meant to be doing is building from a position of strength. And there's been so many missed opportunities where we haven't really done that. And I think it's been a bit frustrating. And I think as fans, man, we're fairly patient. But if you look over the last 10 years, or at least 8 years, we could have easily won, 2 more Prems, if not 3, and at least 2 more Champions Leagues. Like, if we'd given the managers a bit more money, if you look at the season after we won it, the COVID year, it's not the COVID year, but the season after, in that summer, we were all crying out for an extra centre back, and then Virgil got injured, and we were still doing well. Gomez and Matic were leading the back line really, really well, and then they both got wiped out in the winter, and then we were screwed. And I'm sure we were top of the table at that point as well, man. We looked like we were going to walk the league that year, and that was frustrating because people say, oh, what do we we're only fans. Of course, it doesn't make us stupid. Do you know what I mean? Like, we could all see the deficiencies in our squad. And you're right, bro, Iraola. It's not about money. Like, we shouldn't have to worry about it. It's not our money. The club should be doing what they can to make sure we got the best possible chance to compete on the pitch. We're fortunate as Liverpool fans that we're a massive, massive club. So we're a little bit entitled in the sense where we could say maybe we want to be competing for the league every year. But is that a bad thing? We're just fortunate that we're Liverpool fans. We've been through our period where we weren't competing. Now we're back competing. Of course, expectations are going to rise. So it's one of them, man. Like, I just hope we get the job done. We've got 6-7 weeks left. Let's hope we get some signings over the door. You would let me see if I can put this on the screen. Does that even come up on the screen? I don't know if that's come up on the screen. Yeah. See, out of that list you've given, Stevie, Zabani, I like him. Hoyson, of course, I like him, and that's obviously two players that Iraola's worked with. I like Jao Gomez. Minter, I'm warming to, you know. I'm not gonna lie, I actually am warming to him a little bit because, and maybe it is because the options out there just aren't very good right now. So maybe I would take him. I've not watched enough of Yildiz to be honest with you, bro. It's so I can't really give. I know a lot of people rate him, and you know people that whose opinions I respect. You know they speak very highly of him. But I can't give you a like a proper opinion because, and that wouldn't be fair if I did because I'd just be chatting shit, bro. um, yeah, I completely agree, man. You know, what did you like? What did you guys think of Iraola's press conference? I can see you speaking about it here, Adoni. I think I liked a lot of what he said. Of course, he's going to say those things because you know he's a Liverpool manager. He wants to impress. Um, but it's time to prove it now. You know, he did say the right things, and I liked it. You know, talking about wanting to live, you know, explore the city and be part of the city. He doesn't want to just go to the training ground, go to the game, and go home. Like he actually wants to be around. You know, um, and you know, just dive into the city, which I think you know Slot didn't really do. You know, we know Klopp did it. I like that he said he wants to be himself. I like the way he spoke about you know intensity and suffocating the opponents. You know these are important, and these are the sort of things we missed last year. Like I don't know how many of you guys get to go to the game. Like I get to go every now and then, and you know Anfield was just quiet at times last season, man. It's and you can't even be mad at the fans because the play, the manager wasn't you know playing football in a way where you know it's going to get the fans off their seat. Like it was boring, it was tepid. The amount of times I was watching it at home, guys, and I was falling asleep. I'm being serious, man. Like I was falling asleep, and my girl's like, "Why are you watching this? Like I thought you guys were good," and my head was going. Like honestly, but this year I'm hoping we get you know some fast, energetic football again. I can see us having a good Champions League run. You know, some slapping some. I think there's going to be some games where we absolutely slap some of the opponents, and obviously there's going to be your odd game. You know, I think similar to Klopp's first, no, he's probably his second year where um, was it which year did we qualify for the Champions League? Gini scored the winner against Middlesbrough, didn't he? And we qualified. And I remember that Champions League run. We were just slapping teams all over the place. Um, Iraola said a lot and meant nothing. Do you think? Yeah, that's a good point, man. You know, the players are already talking about how tiring his training sessions are. And that's what we need, man. These guys got used to, you know, flying out to Rome and, you know, all these places last year. And, you know, players are going to NBA games. You know, I'm cool for people, you know, for these guys to obviously have a personal life. You know, they're only human, but it doesn't look good when the results on the pitch aren't good and the performances were shit as well. Um, so, yeah, I completely agree, man. Um, Who else? Okay, realistically, then, man, who do you guys think we get, or how many do you think we get? Because I keep saying I think we need about 6 or 7, but I can see us getting another 4 in or 5 at a stretch if we're, you know, if we're being really, really lucky. I'm gonna just try to tweet this out, man, if I can. So bear with me. I don't know how you do it, you know, boys. Yeah, 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 got it. Yeah, bear with me, man. Why is it so long? Let me just copy it, man. Yeah, I'm just trying to get the hang of this, man. If anyone's still in the chat, like this is all kind of new to me, man. Obviously, I've jumped on other people's live streams. It's a bit it's one of them, man. It takes a bit of time to get used to, but I want to try start doing this a little bit more often because I need to get used to it, especially like hosting and stuff. Like I've never really hosted one before. Like I've just, I'm used to other people asking me questions. Okay, that's all good, man. My thing looks a bit slow, man. Anyone still in the chat? Just drop a message, man. Just like I said, man, this is just a trial run, so I will get a little bit more professional in terms of setup and stuff. To be fair, I'm kind of happy, man. I got some people in here. So it's like I said, boys, it's just a little bit of a trial run, man. This is just I've never tried to even go live before. Let me see what's going on Twitter. It's just been a quiet time at the moment. Some people were talking about go for Nico Williams from Bilbao, but I think his wages are going to be crazy, man. I can't see him wanting to. Maybe he will take a cut, because maybe there's a part of him that regrets going for that 10-year deal or whatever he signed. Like whatever that deal was, man, absolutely crazy to me. But yeah, wild. I can't see it happening, man. I think he's a good player. I think I just can't believe he signed that deal. I think, especially was it after the Euros he signed it, and he kind of had every team in Europe pretty much, wanting him. But it kind of just fits, kind of fizzled out for him, hasn't it? A little bit, man. Let me just check something, boys. But yeah, I've seen a lot of people kind of slaughtering Barcola, man. After last night's performance. Me personally, I think it was a bit harsh, man, because the whole team didn't really play too well. We look at Elise didn't exactly impress last night either. Mbappe, he looked like he tried to make things happen, but it just wasn't coming off. I'm so surprised that he started Tchouaméni over Kone. Kone's looked good in these last 2-3 games, and obviously we've been linked with him. United have been linked with him. I'd be interested to know though if you guys would take him. I didn't even. Why were my chat settings all over the place? I was wondering where's all the messages gone. But yo, shout out to you guys, man, for rocking with me still here. Sim, is this for my pre-season run? Yeah, man. You know what? Like, I'm literally just, you know what? I've been trying to put content out, but because it's been a bit boring. Obviously, you know, a lot of you guys know that I'm born and bred pretty much every other day. So now this is me just testing stuff out, man, for the new season. And obviously, I want to, you know, start putting out more and more content. And you know, Sheen and Asim always saying to me as well, Sim, like, you know, you gotta start to go live as well. Like, you know, on my channel, start to build it up slowly. Um, but generally, man, you know, shout out you guys and you know everyone that's kind of come over from you know the born and bred community. It's been good, man. You know, you guys are some cool people. Um, yes, Damien, how's it going, bro? Um, regardless of Barcola, yeah, I agree, bro. I think we do need a right winger. I think the right winger market stinks right now. So it just it's who do we get, man? You know, is Minter going to be 80 million? Do you got? I mean, you know, if people are saying Barcola's not worth 115 or 110, is Minter worth 80? Um, but I'm not gonna lie, I kind of agree with you here, Ben, as well. Like, that's not a bad front three when you look at it. Barcola, Isak, Minter. Like, I think he's got levels to go through, and if you offered me that, I'd shake your hand. I'd completely shake your hand on that, Ben. I wouldn't say no because I think we're in a position where we can't be too fussy. Listen, we should have high standards, but if the market's not good, then I'm cool for that front three. Um, where am I based? I'm from Wolverhampton, you know. Um, yes, I'm from the Midlands. Um, what about you guys, man? Where are you guys from? Damien, you're saying good evening, so you must be from abroad somewhere. I don't know where's the head right now. Is it like Asia or America's behind, isn't it? Hook up with Fozzy. Who's Fozzy, bro? DM me on Twitter. Um, that sounds good, man. I don't know who that is, but 80 million for Minter or 100 for Rayan. Listen, when it comes, listen, 20 million's a lot of money, but I think in football terms, it's not. So I'd probably go for Rayan, you know, Austin. Um, even though his sample size is very, very small, I kind of can't. We can't be too fussy, man. I think he's got potential to be a superstar, or at least a very, very good player. He didn't impress in the World Cup, to be honest, but you know, he took some nice touches. Um, but yeah, that Brazil team stinks, man. Vinny was kind of carrying them. Cunha chipped in here and there. So I don't really want to base it too much on the World Cup. And you know, his sample size in the Prem wasn't the best anyway. So like in terms of 14 games, so it's hard to judge. You know, a player of half a season. But he impressed for that half season. I'm sure Iraola loves him. Swear down, Stevie. Yeah, you're coming to Wolves Friday evening. My guy, man. Uh, what did you say? Punjabi Junction, man. Bloody hell. That's wild. Where did you say you were from? You're from Brighton? No way. You got family and friends up here, yeah? Um, that's crazy, man. And who said they're from Norway? Was it Damien? Someone said they were from Norway. That's wild, man. You know what? Oh, Ben said he's from Norway. Um, but yeah, crazy, man. You know what? Yeah, I'm South Asian, bro. So I'm from a Punjabi background. Um, but you know what's crazy, man? You know, I've been talking to a lot of people recently, you know, just, you know, through Twitter and group chats and stuff. And it's crazy, you know, like how many fans we've got all around the world and how many people from all over the world. I've like, since I started this whole YouTube thing, the amount of people I'm meeting that just love Liverpool, you know, people from, you know, India, Pakistan, America, Canada, Australia, South Africa. Like, it's wild, man. I think midfield is so crucial. We need someone to protect the back line. I posted on Twitter, Spain and last season showed what a difference could be. Yeah, 100%, bro. Um, you see what it is? I know a lot of people talk about needing legs in midfield, and I do agree to some extent, but I think smart players find where to be positionally. You know, if you look at that Spain team, none of them are particularly fast, especially in midfield. You know, obviously you got people like Danny Olmo, who's he's a good runner, but no one's lightning, no one's super strong. You know, they just positionally they're so intelligent. They just kind of know where to be. If you look at players like Fabregas, I always remember that video when he was doing that training session, with the cones, and he beat, I think, Willian and was it Hazard, who are obviously way faster than him, but because he's smarter, he knows how to reduce the length of the pitch. So, what do you guys think of Adam Wharton, man? I'm interested into what you guys think. That those talks, they went a bit quiet, and then they kind of start to fizzle a little bit in the last week or two. Jimmy's Bar and Grill, man. Yeah, Stevie, next time you're in Wolves, go to Builders Arms. They do the best. They do the best curries in Wolverhampton, man. So trust me, it doesn't look like much from the outside, but listen, the curries in there, top. Yeah, that's sick. Yeah, I agree, Jazzy, man. I think I think Trey's got all the technical ability to be, kind of who he wants to be, man. Um, I Do you think he'll go out on loan? I got a feeling Iraola might really, really like him. He might trust him a lot over preseason. And I kind of hope he stays around, man, but only if he's going to get minutes because I think for midfielders, especially young midfielders, they need minutes in their legs. They need to be feeling the football. They need to be, going away, dictating games. But is he ready for a championship club or a Premier League team, for a season? Um, Stevie, you sound like you live in Wolverhampton, man. You know all the spots. You know all the spots, man. Yes, Kazia Souza, yeah, my guy, man. Always showing love on Twitter. What you saying, man? Good to see people coming over. For anyone that's joining now, literally, I was just messing around. I was gonna do some video about Barcola, but let me just go live, man. I need to start testing it out. Um, Stevie Builders Arms. If you got me on Twitter, message me. I'll send you the details, man. It's not far from Jimmy's Bar and Grill. It's literally around the corner from there. It's by the Aldi. But if you message me on Twitter, I'll send you the details. Um, I prefer Austin saying prefer a six with a stronger defensive qualities to partner a leggy box to box. Yeah, I'd agree, man. We were linked loosely with Sangare. Like I've done a lot of background checks on Sangare. I think he looks class. Whether the links are real or if he's a little bit further down on our wish list, that's a different conversation. But I think if you gave me a Sangare and with Sangare and Waterman, they're both left footers. With Sangare and Jao Gomez, that could be a good little combination. Sangare is better on the ball than people give him credit for as well, man. Um, let's see, man. Let's see. You like what Damien likes, Wharton. Yeah, man, he's progressive, and you know what? I try not to look. I think his defensive numbers weren't bad, considering that he's slow as hell. I'm sure he was averaging like 2.2 tackles a game or something. I think he's a good player. It's whether Iraola thinks he'll fit in his system, but let's remember as well, we're going to have the ball, a lot under Iraola. It's not going to be copy and paste from Bournemouth where, teams were giving up possession. Sorry, not giving up possession, going toe to toe with Bournemouth and, giving that kind of space. There's going to be times where we're playing against low blocks again. And, Iraola said that in his press conferences. So a Wharton might be good, man. It'd be interesting to see what happens after the World Cup now. Like, are we going to revisit some of these names? And, Iraola would have had a week with the players or a week and a half and, see what he likes, see what he doesn't like. And there's a lot of good players in the academy as well, of course. But I want us to make sure the academy players are, they should be utilized as your squad players. They shouldn't always be starting. I think some of them aren't quite ready, but you can see they've got potential to be, starters in the next 2-3 years. And I want us to really look after Rio as well because, we've seen what happens to players by the time they get to 22, 23. Camavinga's a good example. Gavi's another one. They've been playing since they're about 17, like grown man minutes as well. And, they've picked up a lot of injuries for those reasons. We've seen it at Liverpool ourselves with Michael Owen. Yeah, Austin, I kind of agree on the Camavinga thing. I think it could be worth a gamble, but I know a lot of people think that it is a gamble because of his injury problems. But I'm sure he played about 30 games last season, and he's versatile, man. Obviously, if you bring in someone like him, you don't need him to be doing shifts at left back. But it's good to know that he can kind of play everywhere, and he's going to give you probably a solid 8 out of 10. Every time we've played Real Madrid in the last few years, he's probably been their standout player, if you ask me. Me and Sheen were saying this the other day, like Camavinga's probably the only one that stood out on the pitch when we played them. Especially the 2 games that we played, under Slot. We slapped them apart, and I think Camavinga was probably their best player. Yeah, what's going on with this homegrown quota, man? Do you guys know how many players, we're short, or if Jones goes? Mm, yeah, you're right, Kaza. How am I spelling your name, man? Kazia, yeah. You're right, man. There's no angle bias when it comes to these guys. And you know what? Wharton can play with his right foot as well, man. I think people always think that, focusing on him being left-footed. He's got a strong right foot as well. Dream midfield was Sangare, Fernandez, Kamara this season. You know what, bro? That's probably a very, very balanced midfield, man. I wanted Fernandez. I couldn't believe we didn't, try and get into the conversation, even though he's 85 million. I think he would have, he covers a lot of the problems that we had in our team, in terms of, off the ball, on the ball for build up. He's a bit of an all rounder. So I'm surprised we didn't, kind of force ourselves into that conversation a little bit more. But maybe we didn't want to spend, 85 million on him. We've only got 2 homegrown slots left. And this is why I wonder, like, do we have to be a little bit more smart in the market now? There was a lot of talk about, what's the kid's name from Chelsea, the right back, Achiampong or something. Like, I wouldn't be surprised if we go for someone like that. And I think it was Asim that mentioned Nwaneri before anyone else did. And that's another sign you could see being a smart move in terms of making sure we got homegrown quota, but also they're going to be, they're not going to be starting week in, week out. But from what I know, this kid that Austin's saying, let me just pin it. Apparently we wanted him the season we got Rio, but Chelsea did everything to make sure we didn't get him. Apparently we were very, very close to getting him too. He was another one that's highly rated in Chelsea's academy. But we've seen with Chelsea over the years, man, like, players just struggle to break through there. There's no stability for them. All around, what you saying, my bro? You good? Thanks for joining, man. I was saying to the boys, I'm just doing a little trial run. So I'm gonna try to do some more live streams, man, over the next, few weeks. Yeah, Steve, I kind of agree, man. Oh, hold on, what's Hassan saying about William Gomez? A lot of people have mentioned William Gomez to me over the last few weeks. I looked at him, he looks good, man. I think he's only 19. Again, but he's going to be a project player. So, are we willing to give him the time to kind of grow and develop? Is it the right environment for him to kind of come in and grow and develop? Steve, yeah, I agree, bro. Jared Bowen for 25 mil. If he's available for 25 mil, I think that's a no-brainer, man, considering he can play anywhere across the front three. And I agree with you, Austin, man, what you're saying here. We got way too hung up on Diamande to think about Fernandez. And this is the thing, man, like, you wonder how much did it scupper our business this summer, not getting Diamande over the line. It was played out in the media that, he was our number 1 target, and then we had all these fake, ITKs, jumping up and down, saying this and saying that. Maybe that's why it's gone up a little bit quiet now, that, they want to play their cards very close to the chest. I just hope they're making moves, man. We have to have a bit of faith that they are. Hassan, yeah. Zabani, bro, yeah, we spoke about him about 10 minutes ago, and I think a lot of us like him. It helps that he's worked with Iraola, and I don't know how many games he's played at PSG. Does anyone know? But it's kind of a no-brainer signing, especially if you can get him on loan with an option to buy. I mean, that'd be great. If it's an obligation, maybe the club don't want to be obligated to it, but I'm sure the manager likes him. He, obviously he's managed him before. So it'll be interesting, man. Chelsea are offering. Nah, they can stay away from Verts, man. Like I like Verts. I think he's going to be top class. I think we'd be very, very stupid to sell him. I think we're being super critical because of the fee. But I think we should be, at least giving him another season before we start, or at least 3 months into the new season before we start saying, he's not good enough or he is good enough, in my opinion. But I know he's another one. He's split in opinion. Whether that's because of the fee that we bought him for, he's a little bit lightweight. But listen, I'm telling you, man. I think if you give this guy the right players around him, before Isak got injured, they were developing a nice little bit of chemistry. So we'll see, man. 33-year-old Salah. Yeah, you're right, Stevie. Like, he took us to the title, man. That in Slot's first season. For being completely honest with ourselves, obviously it's a team effort, but without Salah's goals, there's no way we would have got anywhere near the title that year. Uh, yeah, this is a good shout as well, man. Rock up to PSG. Listen, if you could do that, if you gave me that for this window, I would snap your hand off, man. That would be insane. But I think PSG loves Zaire Emery. It's just whether he can get in the team. And you know what? I think if these players aren't playing, they might have to just force. They either got to force their way out, or they've got to say, listen, I want to play. Otherwise, what's the point of me being here? Like, he's too good to be a squad player. As good as PSG's midfield is, he's got to look at his own career now as well and say, look, listen, yeah, okay, cool, I've won back-to-back Champions Leagues, but how much of a role did I play in that? And this is why Barcola wants to leave, because he wants to, he wants to go play, he wants to go start Champions League finals. He doesn't want to be, sat on the bench waiting to come on, or the rest, they're playing in midweek against a random French team because they're playing Real Madrid midweek. He wants to be, the top of the manager's thoughts for those games. Indy saying Elise wants Madrid. Listen, I wonder, would Liverpool try force themselves as part of that conversation? Is that an option? Is that a player that's too good to let walk away, or without throwing your name in the hat? Kind of like we did with Mbappe all those years ago. Obviously Klopp's come out recently and he spoke about, obviously they went on a private jet and they flew around. They spoke for hours. The whole family was there. And I think they kind of knew it was a long shot, but I think they just wanted to be part of the conversation, just in case there was that, 10% chance that he might say, you know what, I can see my future at Liverpool for the next 3 years, and then maybe move to Madrid after that. So I wonder if you could throw your name in the hat for an Elise, man. It's, it's a long shot, and he's going to go for stupid money, but, there's some players that you've got to just break the bank for, and I think he's worth it, regardless of how he played last night. He didn't play the best, but he's had a good tournament. If we're being completely honest, yeah, I think you're right. Ben, Zaire Emery, defo the future replacement for Ruiz. It's maybe that's why they're keeping him around, because they know there's going to be a gap in the squad at some point. It's just, and I think he will wait around. Although I can't see us taking him. And if we do, they're going to want stupid money for him, man. We should, but I don't know why Elite want to go to LFC. I think, you know what it is, Ben? As big as Real Madrid are, and it is a glamorous club, man, you got to remember, Liverpool probably just in that tier below. Okay, look, if we're being realistic, Real Madrid are at top of the food chain, yeah, cool, that's fine. But Liverpool's a big club, you got to remember that. And he's probably got the right attitude to go play for Real Madrid, but stranger things have happened, man. We kind of heard that, Real Madrid kind of threw their name in the hat for Verts last season as well. And, he's looked for what's best for him at this point in his career. If Real Madrid come crawling in, 6, 7 years, 5 years, whatever, we might not be able to stop him going. But if we can have him for the next 5 years and, he wins stuff for us, then it's not the end of the world, man. Like, with Real Madrid's Real Madrid. And listen, I've been all around the world, man, and Liverpool is supported everywhere. Like I was surprised, not surprised, because I know, I've seen footage and we grow up on stories about Liverpool, man. But Liverpool's huge, man. I went to Japan in March, and there's only Liverpool and Real Madrid that got official club shops in Tokyo. Like, that's how big we are. Like, and that's just me kind of explaining it on a small scale. I was going to like fan bars, to watch the games because the season was still going on at the time. bro, there's Liverpool fans worldwide. Like, we forget how big we are. Um, and this is it, man. He could want to come back to the Prem. You know, Chelsea wanted him when he left Crystal Palace, but I think Palace didn't want to sell to Chelsea. And I think they put a premium on any Prem clubs. Obviously, we know that he was in Chelsea's academy. So you know he might want to come back and and actually prove a point in the Prem. You know that he belongs with the big teams, man. You know he played at Palace, but and we kind of knew he was a good player, but I don't think we knew he was this level. I certainly didn't. I don't know what about you guys. Um, and yeah, bro, I've heard, man, like Liverpool are massive in Norway. All those Scandinavian, like Liverpool's big in most countries, man. Like I think like this people in India have heard about Liverpool. You know, in small villages. Like obviously Liverpool's got a massive South Asian following, but I was in Vietnam as well, and you know it's got Liverpool and United are madly supported over there. I went to America 18 months ago. I was in Miami. I went to two sports bars, bro. The amount of Liverpool fans packing out these sports bars was crazy. Liverpool, and you're right, man. Damien, you're right. We need to act like a big club. Like I'm sick of this whole underdog gimmick that we kind of run sometimes. Like it's good in terms of being humble and not, it kind of catches other teams off guard, but sometimes we need to big ourselves up way more. As a club, as an institution, Liverpool's fucking huge. There's only four. I said there's only four big clubs in the world, man. It's Madrid, Barca, Liverpool, and United. Obviously, Madrid at the top. The other three you can put in whatever order you want, but like those are the big four clubs in the world. Um, and so we do need to start acting like it, man. Why didn't our data nerds buy Elise Wharton before they joined Palace? So I think we were interested in Wharton before he left Blackburn. He was at Blackburn, wasn't he? But you know what it is? I read an article a couple of years ago, and the way they explained it was, or is it Ian Graham, the data guy? I'm sure. Did he speak about it on a podcast? And the way he explained it was, a lot of these players, they're on our radar from when they're young. When they're at their first club. It was the same with Caicedo. Like we knew about him and he was available, for mad cheap. But sometimes they need a middle club, at one of the top five leagues for us to see kind of how good they really are. And if that means paying a premium, then so be it. Because with Liverpool, we should have to pay the premium. But this is why we wanted that second club. This is why Michael Edwards came back for the whole multi-club project. Literally I think that's what we would have done. I think we would have taken advantage of some of these players. Like Liverpool scouting network's crazy, and I think we would have taken more risks in terms of buying these Caicedos for 8 million, putting them in our club in France, and then if they're good enough, we bring them over, or you loan them to a club like I don't know, like a Bournemouth from 2 seasons ago, who would have taken him. So ideally, that's how we should do it, man. But I think they speak about gambles when it comes to signings, and I think it's only like a very small percentage are actually like successful. I think at Liverpool it's a little bit higher because of how well we do our research. But in all fairness, I think when we've kind of gone away from the data, if we look at Nunes, obviously the success rate drops because people have actually come out and said we went against the data for Darwin Nunes because Klopp wanted him so badly. And I think there's been a few examples of that. Uh, yeah, I couldn't agree more, Damien. It was vital to get a feeder club. Like, listen, I don't like the way football's gone in that sense, but it is the way it is, and we have to play. You have to be part of it, otherwise you fall behind. It happened to Liverpool in the '90s with, a lot of the sponsorship deals. United took advantage of it all because obviously they were successful. Liverpool was still living in the '70s and '80s, whereas United kind of gazumped us, and that's why they reaped the benefits of it all because they were living in the present whilst we were living in the past, and it took us years to catch back up. And that's what I just don't want Liverpool to fall behind again because I don't know how long you guys have supported Liverpool. But I was born in the '90s. I probably didn't get into football until the early 2000s, like the 2001 season. So I just don't want us to fall behind again, man, because I've been through the dark days. Rock up to PSG with 200 million. Yeah, man. Oh, that's the message I pinned, Austin. I keep seeing it and I'm thinking, well, I'm sure I replied to that message. Um, yeah, man. You know what it is with Klopp? He was a people person, wasn't he, Damien? Like he was a little bit too loyal at times, you know, because he didn't want to replace Hendo in the team. You know, when we got offered Bruno G, um, you know, that was a signing that Michael Evans wanted. He was just like, listen, this is a good replacement for Henderson. Like Henderson's kind of coming to the end of his run. Hendo probably didn't want to accept a squad role, but sometimes you can't give these players a choice, man. Like he would have got minutes, and this is why it's important to have people at the club like a hierarchy that they're kind of on the same level. But even people like Edwards, he's an arrogant man. He's got a big ego. You know, he wants to kind of show how smart he actually is. Um, so it's one of them, man. It's a little bit frustrating at times. Um, yeah, man. I wouldn't be surprised if this is true, Stevie. Let me just pin that. Um, I've said this for the last 18 months that I've got a feeling that they're gonna sell at some point soon. I think as well, very soon. Um, it didn't make the stuff that's kind of going on at the club that's not making sense to me. And obviously, we knew FSG wanted that the NBA franchise in Vegas. Apparently, they've withdrawn any interest now, but because I'm sure LeBron has been promised a franchise as well. So, obviously, LeBron's one of their partners with Redbird and that sort of stuff. But that was kind of what we were getting fed. And then apparently, they were interested in the Celtics. The FSG were interested in the Celtics as well. That they're obviously a massive NBA franchise. One of the most historical as well, from what I know. They would have gone for silly, silly money. And again, that obviously it was in Boston, so I don't know if it was just a lazy link, but I'm sure they would have been interested. We know these guys are actually from Boston. LeBron on the Epstein list, yeah, it probably is, man. Yeah. What's going on? Yeah, man, I agree, Damien. Like loyalty, you need it in football, yeah, but I think when it comes to the detriment of the club, like it can set you back. Obviously, we've been lucky enough. I don't think it set us back, but you do miss out on, some big signings, man. And I think we're not greedy fan base in that sense. We're quite humble, and we're happy to get these. We don't need superstars every year. Like we've shown that we can compete with just good players. We don't particularly need star names. Um, Sobo's contract, bro. If he doesn't, if he doesn't sign a contract, sell him, man. I know a lot of people like him, and like I said to you before, I'm not gonna shit on him. I've got like a 50-50 opinion on him. I think he's got all the traits to be a very, very good player. But if he's going to drag his feet about signing this contract, sell him. We cannot keep allowing players to leave on a free. Salah you can kind of excuse because he was a legend and the club tried to do him dirty in January. Um, Robbo again, legend. He went to Tottenham, didn't he, on a free? I think there was reports about January possibly going for 8 million. Fine, he's a legend. He can go on his own terms. But Trent, bro, that pissed me off. Kanate, that pissed me off. We can't keep letting this happen because unless you've got money to burn, and then fine, it's not a problem, is it? But we know the way this whole PSR stuff works. That you have to sell players to buy it at times, or especially for your books. I'm just listen. If he doesn't want to stay, sell him. If he wants to stay, then sign the contract because I think he is a good player. Sim the heart of Sobo hate, and you know what it is, bro. I don't even hate him. I think he's got levels to go up. I don't see him as a captain right now. I don't see him as this superstar that maybe he sees himself or other people see him as right now. I think he's got all the traits to be whatever he wants to be. I just want to see it more consistently. I don't want to see him just switching play once a game. Like there's times when he just holds back and he sees the pass, he just doesn't play it, or he'll break down counterattacks. And maybe I'm harsh on him, but because I was so excited when we signed him from Leipzig, man, and then he didn't have the best first season, and I was like, listen, give him time, give him time. But listen, if he wants to sign the contract, I'll more than happily keep him. I think he's a very good player. I just don't think he's elite. But you know, a lot of people don't like it when I say that either. I think people underestimate how big of a summer we need to have next summer, and this is the problem, Ben. Like, but it seems like we're playing catch up every year now, and I don't know if you can pinpoint. And actually, you know, you can pinpoint when this went wrong. Not wrong, but the year we won the league, the summer just before that, we didn't give slot anyone, and you know, fair play, he won the league. Mo carried us, yeah. The team played well as a whole, but Mo, you know, he got us over the line, but I think that summer really held us back, man, in terms of, you know, we only had to bring in one or two. This is what you're meant to do. You know, you're meant to bring one or two, keep building, and then you don't have to go get like, you know, 6 players like we did last year. We didn't replace Diaz. You know, that would have taken us to what, 7 or 8 signings. You know, I was happy for not happy, but like I said at the time, like I think Diaz's output could improve, but only sell him if you can replace him. Um, and they didn't. You know, we kind of gave it. You know, we put everything on Gakpo's shoulders, and I think we know that Gakpo's a good player, but he's not. He shouldn't be a starting left winger. Even though he started a lot of games the season we won the league, but listen, Mo had one of those seasons, man, where he was just it was unplayable. Um, who were the 4 players, Ben, that are out of contracts? Yeah, absolutely negligence, man. That we didn't. Yeah, that we didn't get those contracts done, man. Like I don't know what's going on in terms of the board, like why they're not able to get these contracts done. Listen, if they're coming to 2 years left on their contract, I think at that point you got to sell them. If you're not confident that they're gonna stay, I think you have to put them up for sale. And the player's got a choice then. You know, especially in a World Cup summer. Obviously, Sabazlai, like I don't want, like, I'm not gonna shit on him. Obviously, he didn't play in the World Cup this year, but Kanate, we knew last summer that you know he was going into his last year. Liverpool should have put all the pressure on him and said, "Look, listen, um, if you don't sign, you're not playing. Like we don't have to play you. It's a World Cup year. Do you want to get selected? So either sign the deal so we can get some money for you at the end of the year, or you know if you want, you know if you do want to leave, or sit on the bench." And I think we have to be a little bit ruthless. Like I think you can do it. Like there's probably a certain way. There's a way you got to be able to do this because you can't keep letting players run down their contracts because fucking Madrid are, you know, happy to wait for them for 2 years. Like, how much do Madrid even want you if they're willing to wait for 2 years? Like, they don't want to pay you any money for you. They're just saying, that, listen, now we'll get by. We're not that much in a rush to get you. And can I name, as he played a game at this World Cup, you know, Saliba got injured yesterday and they put Lacroix on instead of him. So, um, yeah, man. Where was that at? Where was that at? The only reason we're in this position is because we trimmed squad over the 3 to 4 seasons, 75. Yeah, 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 absolutely right, man. Whereas Arsenal kind of went the other way, they kind of added a little bit here and there. And you know what? They were competing every year. They couldn't quite get it over the line. And you know, you have to give them credit, man. They got it over the line last year. I don't think their squad's full of superstars, but they got a full squad where, you know, if Erdegaard's not playing well, all right, cool, Eze's coming on, or you know, they can interchange Martinelli and Trossard. Like, I don't think they're world class players, but that they're able to do a job, man. And that's all you need sometimes. Like, not every player needs to be world class. Um, yeah, yeah, yeah. You know what? Shout actually, there's 2 Damiens in the chat, so shout out the Damien that's just joined. I'm gonna try to do live streams now. And shout out the Damien that's saying, please like and subscribe and away. Man, I've been on this for like an hour and I've not asked anyone to like and subscribe. Like I said, man, it was just a trial run. But yeah, if you guys could subscribe, man, I'd appreciate that. I'm enjoying doing this YouTube thing, man. Like it's fun. Um, it's been good, man. And obviously, I recognize a lot of your lot's names from, you know, whether it's Twitter or the live chat at BNR. So much respect, man, for all the love that obviously you boys are showing as well, man. Like, what I'm thinking of doing as well is, man, I'm thinking of doing a little Q&A, but like I send you guys a link and then you guys can kind of come on for 5-10 minutes. And, you know, if you don't want to show your face, you don't have to. And, you know, we can kind of just go back and forth for 5-10 minutes and, Yeah, man. And so let me know if anyone's interested in that. I'm looking to do that at some point over the next few weeks. I think that would be quite good, man, because um, it's good to get people's opinion. Not just through reading sometimes. It's actually nice to have like a direct conversation with someone. Uh, yeah, shout out Dragon Wolf, man, my guy. Thank you for that, bro. Um, what else, man? Has anything else broken? It's been a it's been a boring day, innit? Um, there's not. I don't think there's anything else that's kind of come out, man. Okay. Let me ask you this, yeah. Just everyone put just a yes in the chat, yeah. Do you think Barcola's worth over 100 million? Or actually, I'll tell you what. Tell me what you would go up to. If you guys just put in the chat what you think you'd go up to. Steve, man. Steve's itching to go for a mixed grill in Wolverhampton in it, man. Steve, you know what? I'm not free this Friday, but next time you're up, man, just drop me a message on Twitter. We'll try go for a drink, bro. 80 to 100's fair. Just get him. Would pay 120, 90 million. Because it ain't Barcola. Yeah, I completely agree, Scraps. Because it ain't Barcola, the other left wingers are shit. Yeah, man. Like I think those other left wingers, the other options that are available, they're projects, man. Like, and they might become good players in 2 years, but we need someone that's ready here and now. And if we got the money to spend, I don't see why we shouldn't go spend it. Like, people are saying, well, you can get two for the price of Barcola, but that doesn't mean the output's going to be twice as much. Um, ITK space, put the price out there. How much did he say, bro? I can't remember how much he said now. Um, what's he saying? So someone, yeah, Stevie said 90. Damien saying he'd pay 80 usually, but we're desperate, so I'll pay the 100. Is he the Salah replacement? I don't think he is, man. I think I'd be very surprised if he's going to play as a right winger next season. I think we will still go for a right winger. It just depends how big we're willing to go for that position now. Um, PSG, if PSG don't sign a winger, they ain't selling Barcola. Yeah, and that's a good point as well, man. But yeah, and that occurred to me earlier. Like, how much are they going to push for Diamande? Are they happy to just wait another year? They're looking at Akili Alouche. Apparently that's progressed really well. So they're increasing the amount of squad options they've got. They got rid of Gonzalo Ramos, Lee, and they brought in, is it Ferran Torres they've agreed to deal for? XYZ. Yeah. Ask me, go for it, bro. Ask the question, man. I'm literally reading all the chats. You think it'd be about 110, Ben? Listen, it could be, man. It actually could be. It just, I think we got to pay it. If I'm being completely honest, I just don't see enough good options out there. And this is the problem I've got. When we're looking at alternatives, I know that we think that Isak and Wirtz are going to be there for the output, but there's only so much they can do as well. So we gotta try get some output from the wingers. ITK space. PSG's asking price for Barcola currently stands at 100 million. Listen, that's a no-brainer. I think that's a no-brainer. Plus 20 million in add-ons, 17.3 mil. See, that's a no-brainer. Like, look at this. Let me put it on the screen, man. I'm sure this goes. I hope it's going on the screen. Anyone, I'm pinning it. Let me know if that's coming on the screen. By the way, like I said, man, I'm still learning how to use this shit, man. So it's to me, that's an absolute no-brainer. I don't think the money. I think if you look at the market, you look at Elliot Anderson going for 130. Listen, he's a very, very good player. Is he 130 million? I don't know. Krupi. Oh, it's not on the screen. There was me thinking it's going on the screen, man. How do you do this? Unpin. I'll figure it out. But we'll see. Yeah, like Krupi, that people are talking about 100 million for Krupi. Krupi's only had one season. Rayan's 130 million pound release clause that doesn't activate until January. So I don't understand how Barcola's not worth the money. Like I think he got over 60 GA in the last two seasons. Um, I think it's a no-brainer, man. Is the last video thumbnail an AI, specifically ChatGPT, and do you like it? I mean, I'm still learning how to do this XYZ. I probably need to learn how to do my own thumbnails, to be honest, man. It's just I gotta take the time and learn how to do it, man. And you gotta pay fucking subscriptions for everything these days, man. Um, wild card winger Liao. You lot tell me what you think of Liao. I think he's a talented player. Um, does he have the work rate? I don't know. And I think we're going to need players that are willing to work hard off the ball. But some people have said to me that his off the ball stuff's underrated. But I don't know, man. You lot tell me what do you think of Liao? I think Elise might get caught in a domino effect in the right winger market. Yeah, that's a shout, bro. That could be the case. If Elise deal goes through, that's gonna have ramifications for everyone's transfers, whether the money goes up or that it brings buying to the table for like Cody Gakpo or other players. I think we need to get Rio's contract sorted in August as well. And you never know, man. Buying if they get that Elise money, they might go for Rayan. But what do you think of the sample size, man, for Rayan? Like, obviously, it's only 14 games. Um, but he didn't impress me that much for Brazil. I thought he had a few good touches, but it wasn't anything that stood out where I thought, yeah, this 130 million pound player. And this is the problem in it. Like, it's at what point is too much of a gamble? At least with Barcola, he's got a massive sample size, even though he's our left wing target. Rayan, you're looking at 14 games, and people were saying Diamande was a gamble, but at least with Diamande, we had a full season's worth of data, in a top five league, and of course that's the club are going to look at these sorts of things. I think with Rayan, maybe that's something we can revisit in January or the summer. So don't be surprised if we just try to go for a little stopgap for the 4 months till January. We go back in for him. Um, oh, everyone's talking about Liao, yeah. Um, yeah, I think he's a good talent, and I think he's probably stayed at Milan a little bit too long. But there's certain players out there, and I think Curtis Jones falls into this bracket. Do they want to get to that next level, or are they quite happy with where they're at, and they kind of want to do the lifestyle thing, and they perform decently on the pitch, to a decent level, but they don't really want to progress. And sometimes I wonder, like, can we be mad at these players? And if that's the kind of lifestyle Jones wants, cool. Like, obviously you got to deliver the goods on the pitch, but I want players that want to be world class at Liverpool. I wonder if Liao kind of falls into that bracket. Like, he's not really kicked on. I think 3-4 years ago, people were saying this guy was going to be the next big thing, and it's not really happened, has it? XYZ, message me on Twitter, bro. Sim Talks LFC, and we'll talk about the thumbnails. But yeah, like, I'm definitely looking to be way more consistent on YouTube. So yeah, just drop me a message and we'll talk properly on Twitter, bro. Um, Rio Trev grown in height and put muscle on over the summer. Yeah, man, I'm excited by Rio and Trey. Listen, Rio's gonna have a very, very good season. I don't think he should be your starting winger, but he's going to get minutes, like, way more than he got last year. I think Liverpool would promise it him. He's going to play on the left, he's going to play on the right, 100%. Like, I don't think he'll be tied down to one position, and I think he'll definitely get the cup games, and I think he will start here and there as well. Like, don't get it twisted, in the league, but I don't want us to kill him. I really don't want us to kill him, man, because he's only 17. He's going to be turning 18, and he's got such a long career ahead of him. We want the best years of Rio, in 5 years' time, not right now. Where we only get to enjoy him for 2 years, and he's got injury problems. He still looks like he's built like a teenager. Obviously, he's starting to grow. He's starting to fill out. Like, same with Trey. Trey looked like a teenager last year, but now I've seen him in pre-season. You know, he's put on some muscle. He looks a bit taller. And Naomi's one I'm really excited about because my favorite players are midfielders. You know, obviously I play midfield, but it's such a smart position on the pitch. So that's why I always pay a little bit extra attention. And he very rarely, you know, even though we had a very small sample size last year, he doesn't feel out of place. He doesn't look out of place on the league, on the pitch, and he doesn't really. He's not wasteful. That's what really stands out to me. Can you give me your IG? Yeah, I think it's in my bio, bro. I think it's what's my IG called? The Real Life of Sim. And it should have the same profile picture. So yeah, just message me on there, bro. And yeah, we'll talk about thumbnails. When Milan helped, when Leao helped Milan win the title, one of the best players in the world, and Milan turned down 100. Yeah. And you're right, man. And I think with a lot of these players, there is a turning point in their career where they kind of, if they don't take that next step, they kind of do just fall off. I think the same kind of happened with Naby Keita a little bit, you know. You know that we kind of, Leipzig basically told us that they'll sell him, but he has to stay there for a year. And sometimes the player's heart's not in it anymore. You know, and obviously Naby, you know, he had a long enough at Liverpool to try and prove himself, couldn't get over the injuries. But I think there is a point in the player's career where they just need to move there and then, because obviously you're just wasting time, and then, you know, mentally it can, you know, it can take its toll on you as well. Yeah, I agree, Ben. I think Rio's gonna play at right wing at times next season. I think he's good enough to do it. I think he's probably better off the left, but I hope I think he's got good people around him that are going to say to him, "Listen, your time's going to come. Like there'll be a time where you can be competing consistently for that left wing spot." Um, yeah. What else? What else we got? I'm feeling we won't bring it out on our right winger. Yeah, I'm a little bit worried about that as well, Ben. To be honest, I think that the markets. I think there's more options at left wing than there is right wing, and don't get me wrong, the left wing options are gambles. It's just picking the right gamble, man. The right winger market is rough right now. You know, there's a problem. There's a possibility that Rafinha could be available. I know he had injury problems last season. Um, XYZ, yeah, it's private, bro. It's private. But Rafinha, I think we could do as a stopgap, man. I think we could do as, you know, he's someone that we could really. If you said we were going to have him for a year and he's going to play, let's say 30 games, I'll take that because, you know, obviously we still got Rio, we got Munoz, of course we'll have Barcola hopefully, and you know maybe we can explore the market next year. It's just the market stinks, man. I think Minter has got, you know, he's got the potential to be a really good player. You know, people say he works hard, he's lightning quick, you know, he does create chances. It's just, it's a gamble, isn't it, man? It's such a gamble, chat. What else we got, man? Yeah, Eden. What's it? Is it Luke? Is it Luke at Eden? Where is that? He looks ridiculous, man. At 15. Um, you know, a lot of these players, you kind of can't, you just can't wait for them to, you know, grow up a little bit so you can see how they turn out, man. There's some good academy talent right now. Two sex boys. I need to open the front door for my missus on. I've locked her out. Yeah. Apologies, man. Like I said, it's a test run, man. So I'll be more professional next time. Like, yeah, Rafinha, man. I would absolutely take Rafinha. I don't. I think we could do a lot worse, and I don't think his wages would be the worst either. Like, you know, especially if he's getting on a 2 year contract or 3 year contract. I think, you know, maybe we could kind of do a deal with Barca there, and Barca might need the money if they're looking to sell Alvarez. Um, but yeah, man, Minter presses like crazy. Yeah, bro. Like, you know, I was really against him, and you know, I thought, you know, I can't be this bias. I can't create this bias because I wanted Diamande so badly. So I thought, you know, let me do some more research. And listen, his work rate is impressive. His dribbling ability is impressive. Obviously, you know, his ability in the final third something that needs to improve. Um, but you know he could get there. It's just it's Brighton are horrible to negotiate with. So it's are we willing to spend between 70 to 80 million for him? This is the problem we've got. Guys, I'm literally gonna do about another 10 minutes, yeah, and then I'm gonna go because then I need to have a shower and then I'm gonna go out and watch the England game, man. What do you guys think about the game tonight? Who you guys backing, man? You backing Argentina or you backing England tonight? Is Messi gonna break some hearts? England 2-0. Possibly. I think if Damien's back in England, but Argentina, I could see Argentina doing it, man. Honestly, like Argentina aren't even good. Like this is the worst thing, but these guys are willing to die for Messi on the pitch, man. And they've got it. They got Messi. Like anything can happen. Alvarez turned up in the last game with a screamer. I think if England play to their strengths in terms of out wide and because Argentina really lack width this year, but I think England could beat them, but for some reason I got a funny feeling Argentina they're gonna do them over, and it's gonna be either a late winner. It's gonna be a nasty. It's gonna be a boring game, by the way, in terms of football quality. I think, but I wouldn't be surprised if it goes to extra time, man. Messi needs to be kept quiet. It's easier said than done, bro. They've been trying to keep this guy quiet for the last 20 years, man, and very very few have been able to do it. Um, Yeah, man. Argentina looks like they look leggy, man. They don't look like they got any pace in their team at all. Like they've been boring to watch. The only reason I've watched Argentina is because of Messi. If not, I would not have watched them this season at all, this summer at all. But to be fair, England ain't been like the most entertaining either. Obviously, they've had some entertaining games in terms of results, but in terms of football quality, I don't think it's been that good, man. I think France have probably played the best football, and a lot of the smaller teams have probably given a better account of themselves. Spain, I said this a couple of weeks ago as well, man. I said Spain are just taking it easy right now. Yamal was coming back from injury, and they've always got that ability to just turn the screw. Soon as the opponent's better than them, they'll turn it up a level, and that's what they did last night. England need Robbo to pull Messi's hair. Yeah, man. It's possible, man. Honestly, anyone can keep Messi quiet on his day. Like not anyone, but it's possible to do it. Like Liverpool did it. He wasn't the most clinical that night at Anfield either. There was a couple of scared moments, but our defense that night was ridiculous, man. I'll never forget that game ever. I kind of feel like rewatching it, man. Actually, just to get hyped for the season. Spain not even playing their best player yet, Munoz. Oh, isn't it crazy that Munoz might not play a game for them and we signed a World Cup winner? England are suited for these big games like the Mexico one. Yeah, maybe, man. Listen, and Jude is clutch, man. This guy is special. Like, you see those players who actually back up their talk because, Jude talks a big game and he delivers. Yamal did it as well for a good few days before the France game. He was giving interviews, he's giving quotes out saying, like, that we're going to beat France, and he backed it up. Even though he didn't score, he had a decent game, but I like it, man. I think we need more of these characters, in football. See a Pickford Howler. Listen, we can only hope, bro. We can only hope, man. He's only got little arms, bless him. Yamal always aura gambles and wins, bro. When you got it, you just got it, man. This kid's special. I hope he stays like this, man. Committed to football as well. Obviously we know he's got his hobbies outside of football, but I just hope he doesn't get too distracted, man, because he's gonna have a special career. Sobo is a bit of that ego type. Yeah, he is, man, but it's about backing it up. And to be fair, he scored some important goals for us last year. Just let's see if he can back it up this season, man. I'm hoping everyone else plays well as well this year. And, who knows where we can finish this season if we get the right recruitment. But get some questions in, boys. 5 minutes and I'm gonna call it a day. Obviously it's been fun, man, just doing a little trial run, and then I'm gonna start doing this, man, on a more regular basis. Yamal looking at 2 La Ligas, a Euros, and a World Cup already. Yes, scary, bro. How old is he? Is he 18 or not? Is he 19 now? It's crazy, man. This kid's career is special, man. It's been ordained. Yeah, appreciate that, Damien. I do need to. I need to start pushing it a little bit more, man. Because I'll be honest, man. I was a little bit nervous. I'm a confident guy, you know, but I've never done a live stream, you know, on my own. 'Cause you're kind of just talking to a screen, and then obviously you gotta. Hopefully, people will join the chat. And even though you know we've had about 95 views, man. So that's that's cool, man. Like it's but it's nice to just obviously spend a little bit of time, you know, chat to everyone, and I can actually see everyone's questions. So it's been good, bro. It's been good, lads. Who do I think we sign next? Um, that is a very, very good question. I think it's going to be one that's a bit out of the blue. It could be. It's a good question, man, because I don't see us getting a midfielder until Jones has gone, essentially. Um, Even though I think we could do one regardless. I think if he stays or goes. I think we hear something about Barcola by the end of the week, boys. I really do, man. I think we hear something. Um, do I think we get two more forwards? I'll be honest, bro. I was 100% about it. Well, not 100%. I was one of the people saying I think we would. But I'm starting to doubt it a little bit, man, if I'm being completely honest with you. Maybe it's the journals or what, but I think it would be stupid not to sign two, especially if we're going to possibly lose Gakpo. Um, but yeah, Sarab's call could be right, man. Zabani could be the next one, man. And listen, I'd be happy if we get a defender in next. I think that's one area where we're looking a bit light, and Leone's coming back from injury, Jacquet's coming back from injury. We want to preserve Virgil. We don't want him to be running himself into the ground. I think this guy could play till for another 3 years at this level, and I'd love to be able to keep him at the club, but also to make sure he's still got his legs. Yeah, this name here, I've seen both of these names actually. So Dave from Anfield Index is the one that told me about that Romanian right back, Raichu or whatever his name is. And then somebody else said about Onau Martinez. Apparently, he's got a super low release clause. I think it's about 8 million. So it could be. I don't know much about him to be honest. But you know, I'd be happy as long as they can just do the job. I don't need you to be a 10 out of 10 right back. If you can just be consistent, be decent on the ball, defend very well. That's all I want from my right back this season. If I'm being completely honest. Damien's asking, what made me support LFC? Damien, I'm gonna be completely honest, man. So my grandparents came over to England from India in the 60s. So my family would have been born in the 70s when Liverpool were really good. So they would have supported who the best football team was at the time, and it was Liverpool. So they were glory hunters. So they got to see the 70s, the 80s, the early 90s. And then obviously I was born in the 90s, and then that's why I support Liverpool, to be honest. And you'll find that with a lot of South Asians, and that's why a lot of South Asians probably do support Liverpool, because when their parents were born, Liverpool were just the best team. So obviously they were first generation in this country. So yeah, that's why a lot of us support Liverpool, or for some people it's United. But yeah, man, my uncle made sure I supported Liverpool. I didn't even have a choice in the matter, but I'm grateful, man, because listen, there's no club like Liverpool. There's no club like Liverpool, man. It's special. It's no matter where you go in the world, boys. But you know what? Next time I do a live, I want to hear why you guys support Liverpool. So right, he looks decent. Yeah, that Romanian guy, he does look alright, and he looks okay. Um, Rogers set to start. I wouldn't be surprised. That'd be a good. I keep saying this as well. I don't know why England haven't been playing Jude, Anderson, and Rogers, man. I think that's a great midfield. I think you only need one of Elliot, Anderson, or Rice to start. I don't think you need both of them. Maybe if it was against France or if it was against Spain, I'd understand starting the both of them. But I just haven't seen the point in being so conservative when you got players like Rogers and Jude who can just take the game away from you from midfield. Rogers is right wing tonight. That's interesting. That is. That's very interesting. Can't wait to see Abe. Yeah, man, Joshua Abe. We're gonna see him this season. We're definitely gonna see him on preseason. I think he'll end up getting cut minutes as well, man. I'm excited. You know, he looks like he's got the same kind of ceiling as Rio. Like, if we can have these two for the next 10 years and they hit where we think they're gonna get to, it's scary, man. It is scary. Yeah, it's nice reading this, Damien. Both of you actually telling me, why you support Liverpool, man. I love that. My Scottish family all Celtic supported. My brother gave me LFC scarf. He was given when he was 5. He hates football. I supported this. Yeah, sick story, man. That's a good story, bro. Other Damien, Indian heritage, but from South Africa. So I really want to go to South Africa. I've heard I've heard good things, man. Jude can't play the 8. I don't know. I think he's got the ability, man. It's not, but obviously it's not the game to trial it, is it? Like, he's so used to playing a 10 now, but I'm sure in his earlier years he was predominantly an 8. But I think because he's been so effective, in scoring goals and assisting, I can see why they play him as a 10 or, as a second striker, like, you mentioned shadow striker. And he is effective there, man. And, he can always come back and, collect the ball from deep. It's, I don't know, man. Jude is special. He can do anything he wants, man. He's that good. But he just obviously he doesn't play as an 8 consistently to kind of grasp the game, I think. I don't think any of our mids are suited to double pivot. Shahad. Yeah, man. I don't think they are. I think our midfield is very unbalanced. We're missing a proper DM. And I don't mean a DM in the sense of a destroyer. A destroyer is nice, but you need a DM that's dynamic enough to play football, that can cover ground, and they're not just shin kickers essentially. And I think our midfield has, it's done its job over the last 3 years, but I don't think that balance has been there. And I think it has been evident, since we did that rebuild. As good as they are as individuals, I don't think it's the right balance. Sim, do you think Real's been underrated? Nah, we play once a week for the first one. He should be starting for the first one. That's a big call, bro. That's a big call, man. I think he could. I think he'll start the opening game. I didn't think he would. People asked me a few weeks ago. I thought, but it makes more sense because any winger we get in now, they're not going to be here for pre. If we get Barcola, he's not going to be here for pre-season until I think it's like a week before the season starts. So Rio will start, man, and you know what? He deserves his chances. He impressed so much last season, and he should have been given more minutes. Like I said, man, I just don't want to run him into the ground. So I think we need to manage his minutes smartly, rotate him, but also without making him sit on the bench too much either. Yeah, I agree, man. Rio should have gone to the World Cup. Like those friendlies that he played in, he was way better than Saka or Madueke. Now, what's Indy's tweet? Show someone tell me Indy's tweet, bro. We have a lot of youngsters who are very good. Yeah, bro. I'm very. Is that Sonny Lambie or Lambry, whatever his name is? I've heard good things. I need to watch more. That's one thing I want to try to do more this year as well. Focus a little bit more on the academy. I used to be proper in touch with it, man. But it's I need to now I'm doing the whole YouTube thing, man. I need to be starting to do way more research. Fatal, Fatal or Fatal, man. What you saying, man? You okay? You can see Gakpo getting his mojo back. Look, listen, if Gakpo sticks around, it's not the end of the world, man. He is a good player. He's just not world class, is he? I don't think he should be a starter. But he did do good under Slot's first season, man. Yeah, Rio would have been a better pick than Ivan Toney. But I don't understand why they picked Ivan Toney. Like, has he even played a minute? Like, has any of these other strikers that they took played a minute yet? Like, it's stupid, man. Like, yeah, I don't know. It makes no sense. They did the same thing in the last World Cup, and was it the last World Cup? No, the Euros. And then Ollie Watkins came up clutch, in a couple of moments. And sometimes it's okay to rotate Harry Kane out. Like he can't deliver game after game, and I don't think he delivers in the big games anyway. In my personal opinion, I don't think I've ever seen him score in a when there's something riding on a game. In the sense of a trophy or whatever it is. And I think it was against Netherlands. Ollie Watkins came underneath, scored. Callum Wilson. Callum Wilson? One of them scored against Netherlands at the Euros. Or was it against Spain? One of them scored. Bayern want Barcola to replace Elise. Bro, Bayern, I think Bayern are washed, man. Um, if to be fair to him, ITK space, he's called a lot of stuff with what's really going on at Bayern, and he's been fairly right. Obviously, he milks it a lot, in terms of the way he words things. But I think he has been right, and I don't think Bayern are that super club anymore. So I'd be very surprised if Barcola picks Bayern over Liverpool. But if they sell Elise, they could potentially blow us out of the water with the bid. Parma versus Spain in the final. Yeah, that's it. That's it. Uh, yeah, bro. But Bayern are not the same club as they used to be, man. Listen, I've got a lot of respect for them because obviously they are a big institution, but the way they've monopolized that league, I don't think it's helped it. It's going to come back to bite them in the ass, because why would people want to tune into, especially foreign fans, like ourselves, that really don't have any interest in Bundesliga? Why would we want to watch it when you know that I tuned in more when Leverkusen were going for the league because it made it exciting. So there's a lot going on in that league. I think they probably need to address, and I don't think it will be addressed. But more and more German talents are turning them down as well now. So I think that says a lot. They just don't have the money to compete with the Prem anymore. And maybe they're going to have to, rejig how that league works, because as soon as it starts hitting the pockets of, the board and stuff, that's when they're going to realise. Yeah. Ollie Watkins scored Euro 24 versus Netherlands. Yeah, and the thoughts are, boys, I think I'm going to call it a day, man. Yeah, honestly, I appreciate you all for tuning in, man. Um, I might go live tomorrow at some point. I think I'm online. I'm live with Cheen on BNR for the daily tomorrow. No, is it tomorrow or I'm doing tomorrow night? Either way, I will. I might jump on for a little bit tomorrow, and then I will be on BNR tomorrow night and for their daytime show on Friday as well. Um, but yeah, honestly, shout out all you guys for that have stayed in the chat as well, man. You kind of got me through it, even though it was it was a trial run. But we've been going for an hour 40, man. So it's not just me that's done well. You boys have done well as well, man. So shout out to you guys. But yeah, honestly, I've just hit 200 subscribers as well. So if anyone can just like, share, all that sort of stuff, and subscribe, honestly, really, really appreciate it. And that's another thing, man. Anyone that knows me knows that, like, I get back to people on Twitter. Like, I don't ignore people, or whatever. I like to have good football chat. Learn how to put the comments up on the screen. Yeah, you know what? Shout out Steve, man. I would do that for you. And remember, Builders Arms, man. Don't forget. Yeah, right, boys. Much love, man. Yeah, I might go live tomorrow. Appreciate you, man. Have a good day. I hope you enjoy the game.